Kielbaso, owner of Impact Sports Performance, and this is my feature. So I went to Michigan State for undergrad and studied exercise science, and kind of at pretty early age, like in high school, I knew that I wanted to train athletes, but at the time, that really wasn't a profession. When I got to grad school, I went to University of Michigan, and they had a strength coach there that was one of the first college strength coaches in the country, actually, Mike Gittleson. And I had to actually sneak my way into the football building. I got turned away the first day, and I kind of watched how it worked to get in there. And I waited, when I went back about a week later, I just waited for some football players to walk through by the security, and just kind of like nodded my head like, you know, what's up? And then when they got in, they all went to the locker room, and I was standing there, I had no idea where to go. And the strength coach, Mike Gittleson, like sees me from across the room and was like, "Hey, who are you? What are you doing in here?" And that was a really tough experience because, you know, I had graduated from college, and I had a certification, I had trained some kids, and I thought like I knew what was going on from book smarts. And he grilled me like for an hour, just staring me dead in the eye, asking me some really hard questions about strength and conditioning, and just kept telling me essentially how much I had to learn. And at first I thought like, I know this stuff, you know, I have a degree, like I know what's going on. By the end of that, he told me that I could do an internship, a graduate internship with him, but I also had to take his class. And I realized like how little I actually knew about doing it. I was training an athlete that played pro basketball overseas one day, and he said at the end of the workout, like, "Hey, would you ever want to be a college strength coach?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's what I want to do, but it's really hard to get opportunities around here." And he said, "Well, I went to University of Detroit Mercy, and our strength coach just left, and he was the first one there ever." And he made a phone call, and within like 15 minutes, I got a call from their athletic director. That's kind of how things worked back then. And I got an interview, and I went down there, and make a long story short, I got the job. I think I was only 24 years old, so I wasn't that much older than some of the guys there. Again, I had a year as an intern in college, strength and conditioning, thought I knew everything, but man, I learned so much by doing it for 6 years I was there. At the end of the 6 years, I knew it was time for me to move on, and all the opportunities I was getting were at schools that were kind of lateral moves for me, but I'd have to move, and my wife and I didn't want to move from the area, so I was going to open up my own place, and thank God I didn't, because I probably would have failed, because I, again, thought I knew stuff and didn't, and got an opportunity. I presented it to Total Sports Complex, saying this is what I'd like to do, and they said, "Let's do it, but you're going to be our employee." So I opened up Total Performance Training Center in 2002. What a great experience that was. At the time, there were really hardly any sports performance businesses around. So we were having to actually educate people as to what we were doing back then. Coaches were like, "What do you do? Like, what would you even help us with?" So we had to explain how we could change people's mechanics and make them faster and jump higher and in better shape. And things have changed dramatically since then. Now people know what sports performance is, and it's just a matter of who they're going to do it with, or who has more Instagram followers, or you make your decision however you want. So I did that for 18 years, and then we got purchased by a hospital system, and that was less than a year before COVID. And unfortunately, it wasn't the right fit. So during COVID, I took the opportunity to branch off and open up Impact Sports Performance here in Novi, and it's been absolutely amazing. And we get to train athletes from as young as 8 years old all the way up to people in the NFL and NHL, and it's a pretty great experience. That's why we do what we do, is making a bigger impact than just running a faster 40 or adding a couple inches to your vertical jump. that, like, we have to do that. Like, we have to get athletes better, and we do a lot of testing. Like, that's just a necessary part of it. But being able to, like, kind of mentor people and, you know, having this be a place where they want to be and they feel better and their confidence grows and they learn about themselves and about what's coming in front of them. Like, that's kind of why we do this. It's kind of become, I don't want to say it's a system because it does continue to evolve and it changes every year. But when you know what the test is and when the test is going to be, and you know when you are starting and you have no distractions, it turns into almost like a science experiment. Because training for games and football and baseball or whatever the sport is, there's too many variables. Like, I can't make you hit a ball, or I can't make you catch it or make the play. But if you don't have to worry about any of that, and it's just, here's when we're starting, here's where we're ending, and we know what we have to study for, then we study those things. And we kind of have a really good study program, if you will. It's like an ACT prep program, except we know the questions. We also get a different kind of guy here because we're in Michigan. We don't get like the glitz and glam, like we're not at a beach. We don't have like the nightlife and everything. This is kind of a distraction-free zone. So I tell everybody, like, hey, if you're gonna train here, it's gonna be a business trip. This is not a vacation. A lot of the guys that we train know if I don't have a good pro day, I'm probably done. So we have a focus, and we also kind of create an atmosphere about like grinding, being that underdog, having a chip on their shoulder feel, and that's part of why we get really good results. This is not just an experience to like have fluff and get massaged and stuff every day. This is, people come here because they need the results, and that's kind of what makes our program different. Tavier Thomas from Ferris State. I mean, that guy was a walk-on at a D2 school, ended up being an All-American, and still like was the underdog. And we ended up having him, or he got to do his pro day at Michigan and ran, I think it was a 4.3 or a 4.4, and just had an amazing day and has become an amazing professional athlete, and it's completely changed his life. And I mean, he's been one of the biggest underdog stories ever. But like everybody that's been a D2 guy that's made the league, and there can't be anybody that's trained more D2 guys that have made rosters than me. And seeing them make that roster, or even just make a practice squad, and then seeing them develop over the years, like into pros, that's so cool to me. Jeff Heath is one of those. I mean, the guy paid for his own training and drove an hour to me every day because the agency that signed him said, we're not going to pay for your training. And he ended up, his first year starting for the Cowboys and played in the league for, I don't know, must have been damn near 10 years, and like had just an unbelievable career. Like, that was huge underdog. I guess it kind of comes back to like being a kid. So when I was a kid, I grew up in Okemos, which is by East Lansing, and Magic Johnson was like my idol. And I thought I was going to be the next Magic Johnson. That didn't pan out so well. But what happened is I got to high school and I was pretty good at basketball. And I never had a coach that like made it fun and really wanted to take me under his wing and like make me the best I could possibly be. So I think I had a ton of athletic talent, but nobody said like, come here, like I'm gonna take you through like how to be the best version of yourself, and then here's your opportunity. Nobody did that. And so I kind of sometimes think like, oh, I want to be the person that I needed when I was young that I didn't have.